Hi, it's Valerie Knight from 106.1 The Breeze, and I'm really honored and excited to have a couple of ladies from Living Beyond Breast Cancer as we get ready for the May 19th Yoga on the Steps of the Art Museum. Reach and raise, reach and raise. Jamil Rivers, welcome.
Thank you.
And Felicia Johnson, welcome. Welcome to The Breeze, welcome.
So happy to be here.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. Well, let's talk. Jamil, you are, we'll start right there, Living Beyond Breast Cancer, and you are now fighting. You are a stage 4.
Yes.
I don't want to say victim. What is the right word? Patient?
Yeah, patient.
Patient.
Living with metastatic breast cancer. I was diagnosed last year. And I'm also a young advocate and board member with Living Beyond Breast Cancer. And Living Beyond Breast Cancer was a great help to me when I was first diagnosed. And they started 28 years ago, and they're being able to serve about 500,000 patients annually.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know it's not polite to ask a lady how old they are, but you are so young to have been diagnosed. How old are you, Jamil?
I'll be 41 on Saturday.
Oh, gosh, I thought you were going to say 28.
Thank you.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And so you're in a good frame of mind. You're a happy girl. How is your treatment coming along?
My treatment is going great. When I was first diagnosed, I had to do 1 year of chemotherapy, and I was able to push through. Thankfully, all of my tumors shrunk to microscopic size.
Hallelujah.
From there, I was able to switch to endocrine therapy, where it's pill form, and I just had my first scan since then on Monday, and it's still all clear.
Excellent. But you still say stage 4.
Yes. When you're stage 4, it's no turning back. You're not technically in remission. You can be stable. You can have no evidence of disease on a scan, but it's still in your bloodstream. You're still stage 4.
Wow.
And so it's just keeping the cancer at bay at this point.
Well, with Living Beyond Breast Cancer, it must be so helpful to you to have this organization, of which you are a board member.
Yes.
And Felicia Rivers is here also. Hello, Felicia. Tell us what you do for Living Beyond Breast Cancer.
So I was also diagnosed de novo metastatic breast cancer in 2003, and if you don't know what de novo means, attached to metastatic breast cancer, that means that my diagnosis started at stage 4.
Oh, my.
And so that's a primary diagnosis. I went into treatment January of 2005. In 2004, was in treatment for 3 years, aggressive chemotherapy and hormonal therapy. I had HER2 positive breast cancer, and so there are specific drugs related to the secretion of the type of hormones that we have. Had an interesting time during chemotherapy because it was so aggressive, but I am high risk, and so I had been doing breast health surveillance since I was 24. I got diagnosed at the age of 42. And
what is breast health surveillance?
So breast health surveillance means once you're aware of your high risk status, you start monitoring. You'll have clinical breast examinations, monitoring your breast. And what ultimately happened was I got up one morning and my breast was sore, tender, red, puffy. And I'm thinking to myself, what's that about? And so because of my history, I was apprehensive. Actually, I was terrified.
And your history must be your mother had it or your aunt had it? Or
11 women have had breast cancer in my family.
Wow.
My maternal grandmother, she had 5 daughters, her and my granddad. All 5 of her daughters had breast cancer.
So it is genetic. It is genetic.
It is genetic.
It can be.
It can be genetic.
Right, okay.
Right? And then in my generation, 6 of us have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And out of the 11 women, 7 have been diagnosed early stage and progressed to metastatic disease. So that's why I am so passionate about instruction, breast health surveillance, high risk, knowing where you stand as it relates to the breast cancer in your family and how to perhaps move forward. And for me, the great thing was that I found Living Beyond Breast Cancer as a result of my sister passing from metastatic disease at the age of 47.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I was going through her mail, and I'm like, who's this group? And I transferred her things to my home, and I started reading all of their literature. And so when I saw the opportunity to do the Hear My Voice program, I said, this is excellent, because the generation above me didn't discuss the breast cancer at all. And sometimes in the African American community, there's lack of discussion about disease. This gave me an opportunity to get the necessary skill set, the information that was reliable, to go out into my community and begin to talk to women about metastatic breast disease, which is different than stage 0 to stage 4, and what that looks like to live with metastatic breast disease.
I'm not that well versed, but I do know just from hearing over the years that there are so many different kinds of breast cancer, different kinds of cells, different kinds of ways it metastasizes or not. And I must say that even though you knew that you were high risk because of your family history, you still were diagnosed at stage 4.
At stage 4. And the surprising thing was, I would normally get my mammogram January of every year. For some reason, full-time mom, full-time job, I let it slip, and I went in to see my OBGYN for my normal checkup for that year. And he's doing the breast examination, and he says, Felicia, there's a lump there.
Oh.
And I remember saying to him, I only see you once a year. I think you just ruined the visit. And he knew my history, so he said, I need you ASAP to get the mammogram. We need to see what is going on. And then I proceeded forward.
And you're here today, and you look wonderful.
Yes.
I hope that you're, how are you doing?
So I am doing very, very well. Right now, I am what's called, what Jamil talked about, no evidence of disease. So I'm in the scanning cycle. So I have my periodic scans, and my doctor monitors me that way because of the adverse effect of chemotherapy on me. And that translates into when the risk outweigh the benefit, they have to take you off of some of the medication. My doctor just took a leap of faith and took me off of the last medication I was on. I had a very, very harsh time. I was standing one day, the next day I was on the floor. It just critically affected my mobility, my digestive system. My body just said, what is this going on inside of you? I'm not agreeing with it, so I'm in control. So he took me off of some of the medications, and
fingers crossed.
I am
so
doing
far so good.
Exceptionally well. And so one of the physicians that I met at Johns Hopkins University told me that I was an exceptional responder, and especially because where my cancer had spread was in a rare place also.
Wow.
And so when he explained that to me, I'm like, oh my, this is really intense.
So you've been living with and beyond breast cancer for how long then, Felicia?
So in 2003 was a de novo diagnosis. In 2010 was a triple negative diagnosis. So since 2010, I went back into full active treatment. Same occurrences with Mr. Chemotherapy, who I call Mr. Kryptonite, happened. And then in 12, they took me off of medications again. So technically, from a cancer continuum, I've been NEDs since 2012. So that's why they consider me an exceptional responder.
Excellent. Well, you know, I listen to you and I listen to Jamil, and you become like almost like a doctor. The way you learn, not that you want to have to learn about it, but you really, I mean, you know, when you hear a lot of these things, it's like, wow, it's not just breast cancer. It's so much more involved. Jamil, tell me what, we talked about it, but LBBC's mission, Living Beyond Breast Cancer's mission is, that's a big question, but.
Well, but it's pretty simple. Living Beyond Breast Cancer, they're focused on not necessarily the research per se, but providing trusted information and support to people that are in need right now. So families, patients that are impacted by breast cancer, and providing them with, with how complex breast cancer is. They're able to provide you with trusted information, not Dr. Google, where you can know that this is validated information. They can connect you with their conferences with people that are, in the cutting edge, in the lead of all the innovations and technology right now in the breast cancer space. And that knowledge is power. It really can educate you on what options there are, what's coming down the pike, information on clinical trials, even information on how to manage your symptoms while you're dealing with chemotherapy, and knowing about what all of the various treatments and integrative therapies and even just information on nutrition, diet, sexual intimacy. All of that information is available on the website, in brochures, by phone. You can talk to other women who are also dealing with breast cancer or your type of breast cancer. And I can say from my personal experience that information is just absolutely empowering and is, I think, a key part as to why I'm doing so well.
Such a vital organization. And you also help the families, I heard you mention, not just the patients, but their families as well. Because it's not easy to have a mom diagnosed or a sister or a wife. Yes.
We just recently had our metastatic breast cancer conference the first weekend in April, and there was a segment for caregivers. My husband attended. He learned some great information and tips about, how to support me, and that's so helpful.
So let's get to the heart of Reach and Raise, an event that's coming up May 19th at the top of the Art Museum steps. I participated in this a few years ago, and what a feeling to do yoga at the top of the Art Museum steps. Tell us about Reach and Raise.
Well, Reach and Raise is pretty much our largest fundraiser annually. Instead of doing a walk, we do a large yoga event. It's a great way to bring families and people impacted by breast cancer, and especially because of how nurturing and rejuvenating yoga can be on the body when you're either going through breast cancer treatment, if you're a breast cancer survivor, or if you're living with metastatic breast cancer. And so it's a great way to kind of pamper yourself, but also give back.
Well, I'm a yoga doer. I'm a yogi. Yogi. Because I've been doing yoga for a long time, and I thankfully do not have breast cancer, but it is absolutely empowering and healing and all of those things. I have a bad back, so it helps my back, And so Reach and Raise is, as I said, May 19th. And so you really explained why it features yoga for all the reasons that you just said. And so I guess a lot of the women that have breast cancer, are they new to yoga then? Or I guess it's like kind
Some
of...
are.
Some are.
Some are. And I think a lot of folks are not familiar with just how helpful it can be to manage a lot of those symptoms that we have, not just with chemotherapy, but with various treatments and even hormonal therapy. There are always side effects. And so with those side effects, some of that can be joint pain, some of that could be nausea, fatigue. Yoga is one of those integrative therapies that can really assist with that and help you stay in treatment longer. And of course, the longer you stay in treatment, this is a marathon. I mean, we're really going through it. I know that yoga was a big part of why I was able to sustain, going through chemotherapy for 1 year, still continue to work full time and keep up with my 3 boys. And so.
Oh, you have three sons?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
I have 1 son.
1 son. So how do we register for Reach and Raise? Families, patients, families, survivors, anyone can
Go to our website, www.lbbc.org. You can register individually, register your family. You can set up your own team, or you can easily join a team that's already set up.
So it's May 19th. It's a Sunday. It'll be a lovely Sunday. Fingers crossed.
Early in the morning.
It'll be early in the morning. It'll be warm.
Yes.
And it's for such a great cause. And and I'm telling you, I've done it, and thousands of people doing yoga together is a pretty empowering experience.
Yes. To trust your body.
I salute you, ladies. I've been educated today, and I wish you all the luck in the world. And I will see you on May 19th for Reach and Raise. Living Beyond Breast Cancer. Register at the website, lbbc.com.
.org.
.org, I'm sorry. lbbc.org. Register, and I will see you there. All of us from The Breeze will see you there. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.